Hello, everybody. It's Christina Marie Weber, and I run a company called Christian Biz Owners on Fire, and we help faith-based and spiritual business owners who want a more fulfilling and prosperous business or ministry while putting God, their purpose, and their relationships first on a daily basis. So today we're going to be talking about 4 strategies for handling business setbacks. So those of you who've been following me may be familiar with my process. I basically take a question from a client, someone that's following me, a prospect, um, that they're struggling with in their business or their personal life. And I create educational video around that. So if you have a question that you would like me to answer in a video format, feel free to reach out to me. Chris, you can direct message me on LinkedIn, Christina Marie Weber, or search for Christian Biz Owners on Fire, or you can go to my website, christianbizownersonfire.com, go on the contact page and message me there. So this topic came up with, I have a coaching group that I do, and part of the process is I kind of reach out to people, have them give a kind of a check-in of how they're doing. I like a high-touch process. And we had a particular week where there were a lot of setbacks and it was kind of a bummer. And so that's how I came up with this topic: 4 strategies for handling business setbacks. Setbacks are a part of business, and we do need to know how to rebound from those to stay in business. So I'll start out with Janice Perkins. As the first person I'd heard use the word nerd. It's probably maybe it's her term, but so I'll be a little word nerd about this topic as we get started. So what is the definition of a setback? And that is reversal or check in progress. I didn't know what check meant in that context. So what's the definition of check? Stop or slow down the progress of something. So a setback is a reversal or stopping or slowing down of the progress of something. And then we're talking about a business setback. So what is the definition of a business? One is the practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. So if you are having a reversal or a slowing in your ability to make a living by engaging in commerce, that's what we're talking about here. That is a business setback. So there are 4 steps I encourage you to walk through when you encounter a business setback. So the first one is determine the nature of the setbacks. All setbacks aren't the same, okay? So the first thing you want to ask yourself is the setback something that is out of your control? Great example of this is the COVID shutdown. Particularly, I'm thinking of a number of hairdressers or people that owned hair salons that were kind of floored that the government could come in and say, you're non-essential and we're shutting your business down for however period of time. That's an example that something really is out of your control. Number 2, is a setback a symptom of something else? If so, what? So we want to do the reverse rabbit hole here. So cash flow problems are a common issue in business, but that just may be the symptom. There might be a number of different reasons that led up to the cash flow. Could be you don't know how to do marketing and sales. Could be you have a bad business model that you're really not that profitable or profitable at all, and that's why you're drying up in cash. Could be you have a great business model, but you don't have a good team. There's so much there. So we want to make sure the setback, we're really making sure we're identifying the root core of it, not just the symptom. Number 3, is the setback a consequence of something you are doing or not doing? So any action or non-action you are doing, or is it who you're being, So I like to look at doing and being. So doing is the things I'm choosing to do, things I'm choosing not to do, and then being is how you're showing up. Like I could do a lot of sales activities, but if I'm doing it in a very doubtful way that anyone's going to ever work with me or sign on as a client versus a confident way, I can do the same activity and get very different results. So you want to look at that. Number 4, is the setback permanent, chronic, or acute but short term? So example here, leg amputation, permanent. Okay, so if it's that, okay, it's still a setback, but we need to look at it a little bit differently. The leg's not going to grow back. You could get a prosthesis, but you've lost the leg. Okay. A dysfunctional home or office environment could be more of a chronic type of setback. So, that those kind of things need to be fixed, but it may not happen overnight. And sometimes those environments make it very difficult to think clearly and be able to get out of that. So, I want to know if it's chronic or acute but short term. The last example would be losing your biggest client. That could be very painful, but it's a one-time thing. And of course, it is a setback. So that's again, number one, determine the nature of the setback. Number two, step number two, lay out what is and is not in your control. So I love the good old serenity prayer here. Those of you familiar with 12-step groups, you'll recognize it. God, grant me the serenity, to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I like looking at that prayer, looking at what are outside sources and what are inside sources. So some of the outside sources, and again, these are the things that are out of your control, decision of a higher authority. This could be a government mandate, would be an example of that. Maybe a permanent shift in the marketplace. If we were back in the days of the horse and buggy, when the Model T came on the scene, that's a permanent shift. There was a permanent shift in the marketplace. So those are outside sources. The things that we either need to accept or decide if we have any control over those. And then we want to look at internal sources. So this is a lot of the work I do. So it could be your mindset, your skill set. Maybe you're at a level of business where it's beyond your current level of skills and you need to develop other skills to handle it. It could be the way you're running your business. A lot of times they'll say a really well-run business is better when the founder is not in the middle of it, get them out of the office. So how are you running your business can be an internal source of something you can either change or not change. The actions you choose to take, are you saying yes to the right things? The action you choose to not take, are you saying no to the right things? Your time is everything. Gets into your boundaries, your business and marketing plan, your effectiveness and implementation. How well are you focusing? All of these things are internal sources that we need to look at to kind of start to see what's in my control, what's not in my control. Step three is brainstorm options for getting back on track. So here I'm having you go back to that definition we started in the first place. What is a business? This is the track supposedly we're on. It's the practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. And then what I do with people is I help them understand their holistic business, holistic vision. Their business is a part of that, but so is health, wealth, personal fulfillment, career, spirituality, and relationships. So I encourage you at this stage, once you've kind of assessed the external environment, what's in your control, what's not, what's the nature of this setback, let's get back to the basics. You're here to make a living and you also are here to achieve your vision. Go back to that and use that to be able to start looking at a brain dump. What are all the possible options? Don't edit things out here. Keep the frame of mind of where you're going and just start brain dumping. What are some options of ways to handle a setback? And then you want to list the pros and cons of each option, as you kind of narrow those down. Step four is use the data from all this assessment that I'm encouraging you to do, plus your values, plus your vision, plus guidance from above to select the best option moving forward. So here we're looking at understand that not making a choice is a choice. A lot of times people are paralyzed and they think that they're not choosing things. They are choosing things. They're choosing to not make a choice, and that is a choice. So successful people don't stay in the deer in headlights mode for an extended period of time. I get it when you get a shock. Oh my goodness, I lost my best client. You may not, that's probably not the best time to run out and make a decision, but eventually we do need to make some choices based on what's happening. Use logic to make your decision. But as a faith-based business owner, we also want to look for divine inspiration and God's will. A lot of times what God is asking of us to do isn't always logical. And go back to St. Paul when he was knocked off his horse and was, in the care of someone, and God told Ananias, I want you to go and attend to this guy. Well, this guy was known to kill Christians, and Ananias was a Christian. He's like, are you sure you want me to do this? So that's not a logical decision, but it was God's will and he was willing to do it. So I think that's one of the differences between a faith-based business owner and just a regular business owner that's more secular. We factor in God's will and God's logic, which he doesn't think like we do. And so we want to be connected to him and factor that in. So, because the bottom line is the only thing we can give God is our will and our obedience. So, ultimately, make that the final criteria for how you choose to handle your business setback. He gives us a brain, he gives us talents and gifts to process everything, a lot of resources, but ultimately, he wants us to choose his will and he wants us to be obedient to that. So that needs to, in my opinion, be the bottom line of how you handle a business setback. So in conclusion, I help business owners with business at every stage of their development, from startup to planning your exit. And I work with them in the spring times of their life and the winters of their life and business. So if you'd like to explore working together, I would love to start a conversation. So to set up a time to visit, you can direct message me on LinkedIn, Christina Marie Weber, or if you search Christian Biz Owners on Fire, you'll find my profile or our page on LinkedIn. Or you can send me a message via my contact page on my website, www.christianbizownersonfire.com, www.christianbizownersonfire.com. And if you're contacting me for that reason, use the phrase "ready to thrive" in your message to me, and I'll understand kind of where we need to start. So you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to connecting with you next time. Take care.